Hi guys, how you doing? So I've been looking at a lot of the introductions on the inner circle, and people asking for us to cover certain topics. So that includes things like fat loss, insomnia, stress, anxiety, depression, and we'll cover all of those in a little bit of depth, and not just peddling supplements. We'll talk about the causes, potentially what you can do about it, things you can do outside of supplementation. We'll talk about exercise, diet, little tricks we've learned over the years that can help different things. And the first one I want to start off with was actually the most common one. So the most common one was feeling knackered all the time, fatigue. So it surprised me actually. I know a lot of people are running on empty, and that's probably because of life. You know, Nick has this great quote he uses as often as he can get into any topic. That if we go back a few hundred years, we would take in as much information in one day now as we would in a whole lifetime. That's how crazy the world is, and that's how crazy our minds are. They don't switch off. They don't stop. They don't, stop and smell the roses. Sometimes just stop and go, woosah. So we don't do that because we have jobs, we have training to do, we have Facebook to look at, we have families, we have stress in life generally. Go. Everyone's wanting something from you rather. So you kind of get it, don't you? So where do I start? So I had started writing a few things down on the computer about this whole fatigue thing, and I could have jumped straight into supplements going, take this man, it'll change your game. It's not that easy. So there's a couple of things I write them down because I'll forget. Okay, so before I start throwing supplements at you, I'm going to do a few little boring things, but these are things to just maybe rule out before we get into other things you can do. So one thing, it could potentially be you're not sleeping well enough. You might think you're getting 7 or 8 hours sleep, but you might have sleep apnea, you might have heavy snoring, you don't hit a deeper sleep, like REM, deep sleep, the rapid eye movement where your body's repairing itself. So you wake up unrefreshed, you feel like having a nap in the afternoon, you kind of hit your wall about 3 or 4 o'clock, and you get home after a day's graft or whatever you do in a day, and you're just shattered. So make sure, if you can, your sleep is on point. Quality sleep is really important, and there's a few things that can help with that. Iron deficiency, particularly women on the heavy period cycle, if they're having a heavy period in particular, can be tired. Potentially could be an iron deficiency. However, don't just go pop an iron because it's good for fatigue. It's good for fatigue if you're deficient in iron. If you're not, then it actually could be potentially harmful. So don't just go looking at the last thing TikTok mentioned that they're trying to sell you. Kind of work out if this is for you. You might want to get a blood test done. You might know that, every month I'm knackered, particularly as a female, because that's the time to maybe look at some iron bisglycinate. Try out some decent iron, a methylated form or a chelated form that your body will actually absorb, rather than give you cramping, constipation and diarrhea like the rubbish you get off a doctor. Could be thyroid issues. So a lot of people might have a check on their thyroid, but they find, your thyroid's fine. But what I believe the check doesn't check for is your thyroid might be functioning okay, but the hormones it's kicking out, so your T4 to T3, isn't converting. So you're going to be shattered. Your thyroid that's actually not doing what it should do in giving you energy, increasing your metabolism. So it could be a thyroid problem, potentially. Intolerances to cold, weight changes, so putting on some a little bit more timber, or hair and skin changes could be linked to a thyroid issue. And there's very simple supplements for really do a thyroid complex, which is a sublime. There's things like selenium, kelp, that can really help with things, and tyrosine is an incredible amino acid that can really help with that conversion of T3 to T4. So low vitamin D, very common in the UK. What's it done for the last 3 months? Been dark and it's rained every day. There's no sunshine. So if you're not supplementing with vitamin D3, your mood potentially could be low, potentially, because you're deficient in it. Energy levels are non-existent because you're deficient in it. So something I take this time of year, only this time of year, is D3. I do D3 and K2, the LSC brand, because it's 4,000 IUs of vitamin D, and it's a quality amount of, I think it's 100 UGs or IUs of vitamin K2. Phenomenal. And keeps your mood up, keeps your energy up. Simple deficiency. So when you look at things like myself and Nick do, we ask lots of questions of you in the shop for a reason. We go through all these in our little tiny minds, getting you the best advice, rather than going, yeah, here's an energy one with everything in. You've got iron in there, D in there, magnesium in there, B vitamins in there, blah, blah, blah. That's throwing a kitchen sink at something. So do it cleverly, and that way you don't spend a fortune on supplements. You're getting the right supplements to address an imbalance potentially, or a problem solved. But once that problem's solved, we come away, we advise you. You don't need to keep taking these supplements, whatever that might be. It may be, right, low energy. What does the normal person in the world, or in the UK, go, low energy? What advice would you get off a neighbour, or someone at a party, or someone at the pub, or a friend, that you're talking to over a coffee? B12. Well, it doesn't necessarily, all the B vitamins will actually help with energy. They do this great thing of converting food that we ingest and convert it into something called glycogen, which is energy, brain and physical energy. So don't just go again pigeonholing B12 because Mavis at the coffee shop said that's what you should be taking. It's changed your life. And there's different types. So you go along the high street, you get something called the cytocobalamin. We want methylcobalamin because that is more absorbable in the body. In fact, all your B's should be methylated. I'll go into that in a bit. Blood sugar swings. So blood sugar levels, your insulin might not be regulating. So you might eat something, crave it, and then you crash. And that's when you get fatigued. So you eat something else sugary and you crash. So your day is crashing and crashing and crashing and crashing by consuming lots of sugar, sugary sort of stuff. So something like chromium, cinnamon and alpha lipoic acid can regulate that insulin level. It stops sweet cravings, but it will also, if your insulin's pretty regulated and low, you're burning more fat for energy. You're tapping into fat for energy. It's been around forever. No one talks about it. But if you ever come in the shop, have a look under the computer at the counter, and you'll see my little daily stack of supplements that I take in the shop. You'll see chromium, cinnamon and alpha lipoic acid by Terranova in my little daily stack to regulate my insulin levels. I'm not pre-diabetic as far as I know. I'm certainly not diabetic as far as I know, but that will stop me hopefully being either of those. But it allows me to not crave sugar because I am a chocoholic. There, I've told you, and it works fantastically well for me. What else have I put down? Okay, stress, anxiety, depression. That could have come to the top. Most people, 1 in 3 people we speak to in the shop are struggling with stress, general life, physical stress, mental stress, emotional stress, environmental stresses are everywhere. Anxiety, horrible. I've experienced it, horrible. And depression, also something I've experienced in my life many years ago, but it was horrible. And they can sap your body like you wouldn't believe. Cortisol's high, everything else is low, and you're just using all your nutrients just to function. So that could be addressed. It might be that. Not eating enough. So some people just have they might be on a diet and they're calorifically deficient so much. You've got to feed your body. Your body needs nutrients. You can't just live on a multivitamin, a krill oil and a lettuce leaf. That's crazy. So making sure you've got a balanced diet and you're getting enough nutrition in regularly is really important. So what do we go on to then? Okay, I've done a little supplement shortlist to try and cover the topic of fatigue. Excuse me. First thing I would go with, personally, without, there's little things I've just talked about, take on board. And if any of those things go, that's me. There may be two things there, but that makes sense. Then approach those two things or come and speak to us. And we'll ask you about all those questions. Methylated B vitamins. Not just B vitamins, methylated. It's really important. I'm about to sneeze. Excuse me. I have nothing for sneezing apart from a shock. Maybe I don't know if that works actually. So methylated B vitamins. See, most people would have stopped this, wouldn't they? Would have stopped and gone, oh, cut. Let's start again. You get what you see. I'm human. I sneeze. I do lots of other things you guys do, like everything actually. Methylated Bs. So B vitamins we have to convert into their coenzyme form that helps the body then use them for what they need to be done, not what needs to be done in the body. Methylated Bs are already converted, so you're getting like a head start. So I believe, and maybe incorrect, I should have done a bit of research on this, but I haven't. But I believe as 1 in 5 people, potentially 1 in 4 people, cannot convert B vitamins in their bodies to their coactive coenzyme sort of end result, which gives you the energy. So we'll cut the corner for that. We'll go with Terra Nova B complex with vitamin C, great little mix, methylated. So your body's going to go, wow, thank you. Food, glycogen, energy, stress, let's lower that a little bit. B12, methylcobalamin style. Folate is methylfolate. So if you get a lot of folate and you have too much, it can actually mask a B12 deficiency. So you might be taking too much of something, which isn't always good, and be masking a deficiency you're not sure you've got. And that's just a downward spiral. So a nice balanced B complex, like the Terra Nova multivitamin, B complex, sorry, be perfect starting point. Absolutely perfect. Energy, metabolic rate support, is great for just general energy. So B vitamins would be my first protocol, and they're relatively cheap, even in the methylated forms. More is not better. Go with balance every time. What else have I put? Right. Everyone, the buzzword at the minute is magnesium. And again, it gets pigeonholed. Can't sleep. Magnesium. Well, hang on. What happened to valerian? That's amazing. Wild lettuce is amazing. Magnesium can be amazing. But this is the sort of thing we get into. Flick through TikTok, flick through Instagram, flick through Facebook. Can't sleep, magnesium. Better sleep like a... Well, if you're deficient in magnesium, absolutely. If you're not deficient in magnesium, potentially you might be wasting your money. So you will be wasting your money. Magnesium is just not about sleep. It's about anxiety. Oh, we mentioned that earlier. It's about cardiovascular health. Phenomenal. It's about energy, ATP production, adenosine triphosphate production. Magnesium is such a cool mineral. It's the most abundant mineral in the heart. And what it does is it relaxes the heart and the heartbeat. And believe calcium contracts. It's a little marriage. So magnesium will help with quality of sleep. Take it about an hour before bed. I take the Magnificent, which is 3 of the most absorbable forms of magnesium, and unbelievably good. You sleep well, you're in a deeper sleep for longer, your muscles are relaxing, your body's relaxing, your mind's relaxing. You go into this dream state, you're in your deeper REM, so you're releasing all these really cool hormones, your insulin growth factors, growth hormone, testosterone even, in your sleep. That's what we're designed to do. We actually slow down. Supports energy, muscle and stress support. If you're getting cramps, restless legs, you feel tired again mid-afternoon. If you have things like chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, magnesium. If it's super fatigued, Viridian do fantastic magnesium citrate and ribosate. D-ribosate and magnesium together are like just amazing for fatigue if you are really struggling. If you have anything like IBS or like a dodgy stomach, loose stools, try and avoid the magnesium citrate. If you have the opposite and you're not going regularly, get on the magnesium citrate. It will keep you as regular as clockwork. So it's just a few things. Not all magnesiums are the same. if you found you've walked into Super Service, Super Drug or something like that, and you've got, wow, that's a year's supply of magnesium for 99p, I'll have some of that. Chances are you won't absorb it. Just saying. Anyway, that's a discussion for another day. D3. Okay. Low D3 makes you feel very fatigued. And most of us in the UK at this moment time of year will potentially be deficient in D3. And D3 deficiency will affect your energy levels and your mood. So, everyone knows about it for immune support, okay? It helps with mood massively. Your immune system's firing with D3. That's why I've put it in the immune boost complex with vitamin C and zinc, therapeutic dosed. I take the D3 with K2, so that stops the possibility of calcification, absorbs the calcium in the blood, things like that. It actually gets it to where it needs to be. The next thing I always champion is krill oil. I love krill oil. It's more absorbable in terms of its bioavailability than certainly cod liver oil, don't even have in the shop. But fish oils, we only have the very best quality fish oils, which are phenomenal. But it's actually ability to absorb better in the brain, so for mental energy. So you might think you're fatigued, but physically you're all right. Maybe it's mentally that you're really struggling and fatigued. Maybe it's brain foggy and walking into rooms and forgetting why you walked in. Try some krill oil. It's relatively inexpensive. It's absolutely awesome, and I recommend it to everybody every day. With any fish oils, just be careful. If you're on high dosages of bud thinners, maybe's not. Anti-inflammatory, which is awesome anyway. And that would be really my initial go-to. There are some exceptions here. Creatine's getting amazing press now, and rightly so. And creatine is again about producing ATP. So ironically, creatine and magnesium together work like a little marriage. It's fantastic. Creatine helps cellular energy. So basically, it will actually activate the energy levels in a cellular level, which is cool. Mental fatigue. Now, this is around about the 10 grams mark. So if you take about 10 grams a day, you really will wake up mentally and focus incredibly well. Great for obviously training, recovery. If you're hitting the gym, absolutely brilliant. Avoid the non-micronized stuff or the gimmicky stuff. Again, you'll find in most high street shops, in most bulking kind of powdery websites where they're selling volumes to the world at the best rate ever. They give you a constant 45% off on your text, so you think you're getting the deal of the century. Trust me, if it's a constant 45% off, that in 45% off, that's the price. So they're very clever. So creatine definitely a go-to. Something I've started taking again in the last probably year, and I take about 10 grams a day through the day. Just I put it in my cup at work with my little straw, and I just sip it through the day. Fantastic for just feeling good, feeling tight, feeling energized. I take magnesium as well. I take the Magnificent on an evening. So yeah, them two work beautifully together. Another thing might be worth looking at. You may be on statins. Now, statins stop something called coenzyme Q10 production. Coenzyme Q10 is the most amazing energy-giving molecule there is around. Phenomenal for things like mitochondrial support. CoQ10 is just the absolute bee's knees. It actually ironically helps with cholesterol. But when you take statins, you don't produce it. So a lot of people on statins feel absolutely shattered all the time. That will be the reason. The only way around that, to my knowledge, you take statins, you take coenzyme Q10 alongside your statins. They don't counteract the statins, but what they do is they're replacing your body with what it would normally produce. Just the pharmaceutical drug that I'm a bit skeptical of has just cut off this energy producing nutrient. So you really have to buy more. Do not buy your 30 milligram stuff that's around. Go for 100 milligrams as a baseline, and it isn't the cheapest, unfortunately, but there you go. It's fat soluble, so try and take it with a meal that's got some sort of fat in there, or take it with an MCT, which Viridian's is with MCT, and Terra Nova's always sorts their the stuff out, so it's got enough in there to absorb on an empty stomach. But I'd always take it with food. Electrolytes, big one. Now I preach this a lot to all the sports people I deal with at a competitive level. So all the professional fighters, the national champion amateur boxers, the strongmen guys that are on the world stage these days, they're all breaking world records left, right and centre. The rugby lads, the football guys, basketball, anyone that's in a team sport. If you become 1% dehydrated in your body, that can equate to up to 30% energy reduction. So if you feel like a third of your energy just is gone, potentially it's dehydration. So electrolytes are absolutely key. I mean, key. The beautiful thing with good electrolytes, this is the inner circle, I can tell you. I'm bringing out an electrolyte formula. It's unflavoured and it's amazing. And the price is just unbelievable. I could have taken liberties with this product and I could have put the price up tenfold, but I haven't. So we again are going to bring this formula out pretty soon. You'll be the first to know about it. Unbelievably good electrolyte formula. This has been in my back pocket for over a year now. I just haven't had the cash flow to action it. Now we have, so I'm excited about this product. You can mix it with your creatine, you can mix it with your amino acids, you can take it in training, you can take it just daily for keeping your electrolytes and keeping you hydrated. So electrolytes shouldn't be dismissed. If you're particularly active, if you're particularly sweaty, electrolytes might be a little lifesaver for you in terms of energy and anti-fatigue. The other things we could go to, which again I've worked with, is adaptogenic herbs. So they're basically, they adapt to what your body needs. So if you need better sleep, they'll help you sleep. If your mood's low, it'll boost your mood. Crazy how the herbal planet, the herbal kingdom does these things. My two go-tos in this would be my favourite, rhodiola, which isn't as trendy and TikTok-y savvy as ashwagandha, which would be the other one. Both, if you get pure forms, LSC, are incredible in how they work as far as I'm concerned. I've used rhodiola this time of year on and off for best part of 26 years. And because I struggle the fact it's constantly raining, it's dark, it's bleak, it looks like evening all the time, and I want to be out in the sunshine. So it keeps me mentally stable, actually, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. I love rhodiola, very good on energy, very anti-fatigue, really good for cognitive function. So if anyone was like taking exams or something, rhodiola's worth a look because it stops you stressing about them, but it actually helps with your retention of facts and knowledge. It's kind of cool. So that's where I would go with fatigue. I would look through all of those things. Little tips, what have I written on the button? So a couple of things I would look at as a little bullet point. Regular sleep. So I've got into the habit and have done for the last few years now. I've gone to bed, and this sounds sad as a grown man, but I go to bed at about 9 o'clock and I read for as long as I can read, which is probably about 3 pages, and I'm asleep. And then I wake up early, naturally. So I tend to wake up between 5 and 6, don't set the alarm, but I'm there, I'm up. So I tend to come in my office, start doing some bits and bobs, jump into the gym, have an hour training, come back, and the kids and my wife are just getting up. Boom, I've done everything I need to do, and they've been snoring their heads off. So sleep, try and get into a schedule. Try and go to bed the same time every night, and your body will actually adjust, and it'll get used to it. And try and aim for 7 to 8 hours sleep if you can. Not everyone needs that, but that's where I'd aim. Food, protein, calories, iron-rich foods. Your dark green leafy vegetables. If you're not a vegan or vegetarian, steak. Have a steak now and again, a couple of times a week, full of really cool stuff. Daily exposure to sunlight when you can. When the bloody thing comes out, get out there. Just go, thank you. Even if it's for 15 minutes, go for a walk in it. Lifting weights, believe it or not, and walking. You're like, hang on, I've got fatigue. And then you're putting out energy. Weirdly, you put out energy, you get energy back. It's crazy, I know, but it's true. Cutting out, I put this because I don't drink tea or coffee, and it's not because of the health thing. I think I must have been scolded as a child with a boiling hot drink because I don't drink any hot drinks. And my two brothers are the same, actually. So I've never done hot drinks. I've never done tea or coffee. I don't live on Red Bulls. I hate them. Do you know if you drink Red Bull, you got more chance of harming your kidneys than alcohol? That's why I prefer alcohol over Red Bull. But true, Red Bull will absolutely annihilate your kidneys. So if you drink a lot of Red Bull, stop. Stop. All those energy drinks similar to. So that's not just against Red Bull. It's just stop. Cutting out the caffeine. Trying to caffeine is ergonomic. It's good in small amounts. So have 1 or 2 coffees a day. I've started your day with one. Absolutely. Take one before training. There's maybe a cheaper version of a pre-workout. Absolutely. But don't go smashing 10, 11, 12 coffee and teas every day. It's going to knock you out. So hopefully there was something in there, a bit more in depth, I know. I'm sorry about that. But hopefully there was something in there that where you've gone, I'm going to try that. Because there's nothing worse than being tired all the time. And you think you're getting the proper night's sleep, you wake up and you're still tired. There's a few things to look at. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining the Inner Circle. And I'll be on soon, or Nick will be on soon, which one of us, with some of the other topics that we looked at. Fat loss I might leave to Nick, because he's ripped and I'm not. So maybe you're more likely to listen to Nick on that one. Depression, I look depressed, so maybe I'm not, but I look it. So maybe I'll talk about depression. And I think me and Nick have both struggled with that in the past, so we're both quite empathetic with that. And we will cover the other things that you've kindly commented on. Please keep that communication coming. It's brilliant, and it's well worth you mentioning anything out there. You can do it. PM us privately, personal message, is that right? PM? Yeah, PM us privately if you don't want to be named. That's cool. But you know, we're all in the same boat, so this is good. We want to build a community where we're chatting and sorting problems out like this, without just peddling products. Yes, I've talked about supplements, but at the start and at the end, have a look at them. Re-look at the start and the end of this and see where you are. Thank you so much for listening. I'll catch you soon. Take care. Bye, guys.